Wearing too many hats at one go can often be a problem because of lack of focus. Now that is the same case with MPVs, because these are vehicles that are not focused on one point but aim to do a lot of things in one go, and that is the reason why so many MPVs in the past have failed. But for Maruti Suzuki, it was a different story when they single-handedly created the compact MPV space with the Ertiga in 2012, and since then more than 4 lakh Ertigas have sold, making it a successful product. And now finally Maruti Suzuki has launched the all-new Ertiga, which comes with a fresh design, new interiors, updated mechanicals, updated engine gearbox. So how does it fare at the competitive price that it has been launched? Well, that's what we are going to find out through the course of this video. Now, based on a new platform, everything about the new Ertiga is pretty much all new, and so is the design, which is completely fresh. Now, for me, the biggest change in the design language of the Ertiga is that unlike the older model, which used to look like a bland MPV, this one has got a lot of interesting elements to it, and more importantly, it has a lot of appeal going for it, something that the older Ertiga completely missed out on. Now, dominating the front look is this new grille. It's a chrome studded grille, and we Indians, we love chrome. So a lot of people are going to like this design, and this grille is flanked by new headlamps, sleek headlamps, so it gives it a more car-like appearance at the front. The bumper, the hood, all of it is new. Overall gives the Ertiga a very premium and a sleek look, very unlike an MPV. Now the side also is completely new, just like the front, and what you get, the first feeling when you look at the side is it looks long. The Ertiga looks really long, and of course the length has increased, but what accentuates this length is the strong shoulder line that runs right from the tail lamp up till the front, and again you've got this line at the bottom. So along with a brand new alloy wheel design, what you get is a smart looking side. Just like the front, the Ertiga's rear too is quite attractive and very different. What you get is a cluster of large tail lamps on both ends. Now these are vertically stacked tail lamps. They look really neat, especially in dark. Once the LEDs go on, that is when you can see the beauty of these. The bumper, again, it's got some sharp creases. So when you add up all of that along with a strong boot line, the rear too has got a lot of attractiveness and a lot of appeal going for it. Now the cabin of the all-new Ertiga is quite an interesting place to be in. Well, of course, everything around is all new, and if you start off from the dashboard, the lower part, well, it's beige in color, and the upper part has a darker shade. In between, you've got this very nice looking wood finish. It looks good, it has been done tastefully, and that's a very good thing that we have been seeing in a lot of new Maruti Suzuki cars in the last few years. The chrome and the wood finish that they've been doing has a lot of good premium feel to it. If you look at the air conditioning vents, again, these have an effect as if they run across the dashboard. That again gives it a premium flavor. And of course, at the center, you have this touchscreen which comes with Smart Play that you get in other Maruti Suzuki cars. You get the usual Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, your USB, Bluetooth, navigation. All of that connectivity options are taken care of. The steering wheel too is all new. What you have here is a flat bottom steering wheel which has a good looking wooden finish to it. You've got the usual audio and telephone controls with it. The instrument cluster is all new. What you get is in the middle you have an all new TFT screen, the MID display. It's pretty similar to what you see in like the cars like a Baleno or the new Ciaz. So it gives you a range of information right from a distance to empty, trip meter, odometer, your average fuel consumption. And this being a smart hybrid vehicle, well, you also get the data of your battery and your motor status, so you can see that live in front of you. The MID is flanked by 2 circular pods. You've got the usual fuel gauge, your speedometer, and the tachometer and the temperature gauge in these. Now, being a family-oriented car, it is extremely important to have a lot of storage space inside the cabin, and that is precisely what Maruti Suzuki engineers have delivered. The storage space has been designed very smartly, so if you look at the door pockets, they are pretty accommodating. You can easily plonk in a liter of water bottle and you will still have space for a lot more stuff to fit in. If you look at the center console, again you have got this place here. You can easily place your wallet, your smartphone here. You have a 12-volt socket here and a USB and aux point here. One of the smartest things inside this new cabin is these beverage holders. Now what the engineers have done is they've given these small air conditioning vents here. So what it does is it keeps your beverage cool, and this is a very good thing because a lot of cars come with air cooled glove box, but a glove box is not something which you can use so frequently for beverages, but this, it makes sense in everyday usage. So now I'm in the rear seat of the new Ertiga, and well, I've got the driver seat adjusted to my driving preference, 5 feet 8 inches for reference. And well, don't worry if you're just seeing this image and wondering where is all the space gone. It's just because the seat is on its forwardmost position. You can still slide it back, so you have this option, and now there's a lot of space. So even tall occupants will have no worries with your legs room. If you talk about the leg room, well, it hasn't changed from the older Ertiga. What has changed in terms of seat is the seat width. So this has been increased, and this liberates more shoulder room for the occupants, makes it a little more comfortable for people over longer journeys especially. Headroom again, generous, so again a good thing for a family mover. Adding further to the comfort and convenience at the rear is the overhead air conditioning vents with the regulator. You also have got smart door pockets here. You can still place in 1 liter water bottles here. You've got a good armrest, it's cushioned, so again occupants on both ends can use it. And because you don't have a very tall transmission tunnel hump, the third occupant too can sit with decent comfort in this seat. Now if you're buying a 7-seater, those 2 seats at the last mean a lot to you. But if you look at MPVs, in most of the MPVs, that is a pain point for them. So what is it in the Ertiga? Let's find out. Now the best thing is, herein you can just do it with one flip, goes forward, step in. So once you're inside the last row, this is pretty much how a 5 feet 8 inches tall person would be sitting. As you can see, my legs are not just touching, but they are pressing against this front seat. So this is not a place I would like to be in for a long time. However, because the seat travel is adjustable, if you do not have a very tall occupant sitting in your front, you can push this forward and that will liberate some more space. And in that case, the seat is not that bad, because unlike a lot of other SUVs and MPVs, you can see I'm not actually squatting, so my knees aren't really pointing high. That makes it a lot more uncomfortable. Here the floor is much more flat, the height is low. Now a lot of people will tell you that the last row in a 7-seat vehicle is best suited for children, but that isn't the case. We at Express Drives would recommend that don't have your children sitting in the last row. It is unsafe. Always have them in the middle row with a car seat if a child is under 12 years. Now one of the benefits you get from the extra length of the new Ertiga is increased boot space, and with the third row up, the boot volume has gone up by about 50%. So right now what you have at disposal is about 209 liters. If you fold both the rows completely down, what you get is 803 liters of boot space. Now one smart feature the engineers have integrated into the new Ertiga is this flip system here. So what you do is you take off this cover and you have a decent amount of space here, so you can actually place your valuables, something like a laptop or some other valuables, and you place this cover over so these stay concealed from external view. And if you put these down, so now what you have is a lot of space here, and this extra space can be used for placing in tall bags and a lot of other stuff. Now let's talk about the heart of the new Ertiga, the engine and the gearbox. Now the biggest change here is the inclusion of the new petrol engine, the 1.5 liter petrol engine, which we saw making its debut in the new Ciaz. Now it is in a similar state of tune, so you get similar number of power output figures for this engine here as well. And this engine also comes with the smart hybrid vehicle system technology, which is the SHVS, which we saw in the Ciaz also, and this now comes with a lithium-ion battery. So what it does is it stores the braking energy and it's not lost, it stores it and it uses it back at the time of acceleration, which Maruti Suzuki calls as a torque assist function. Now this also increases fuel efficiency, which is a good thing, helps you save your precious money. And if you talk about the engine itself, well, it's a smooth engine. It's got adequate power to move around the vehicle with ease, so you do not feel out of power really, even when you're out on the highways and you have to overtake the long trailers. You do not feel a lack of power. The punch is there. Now the other engine option is the tried and tested 1.3 litre DDIS diesel engine, and of course it is the same engine that a lot of other Maruti Suzuki cars come with. In terms of noise, vibration and harshness levels, well, a lot of you guys have been asking us ever since the launch of this vehicle a couple of days back. Well, the answer to that is, I would say, it has got a decent amount of NVH insulation. It isn't really exceptionally good, it isn't bad, so it's at the point where the sound that filters into the cabin will not bother you. But yes, I personally believe a slight improvement could still have been made as far as the decibel levels are concerned. The 5-speed manual gearbox works well, it's paired well to the engine, and the automatic transmission also does a good job, but that is primarily aimed at someone looking at urban users. So if you're someone who's going to do a lot of driving on the highway, or you're someone who enjoys driving, then the automatic gearbox is not the right option for you. In that case, go for the manual, but for urban users, the automatic does its job very well. Now in terms of ride and handling, again, there's a lot of changes that have been done to the suspension. A lot of components at the rear have been added, and of course the tuning is also different from the older model. So as a result of all these changes, the ride quality is quite nice. Going over bad surfaces and minor undulations is dealt with in a very good manner. The cabin stays largely insulated from these shocks. The large potholes and speed breakers also, the vehicle maintains its composure. And at high speed also, the ride quality is quite impressive. If you talk about handling, well, it's a pretty much neutral handling vehicle, so it's not aimed at a driving enthusiast, and it isn't made to go around corners fast. So if you're talking about daily and practical usage, highway speeds, yes. Triple digit speeds, stability is good, no problems with that. Braking is again good, so even braking from about 100 kilometers, the vehicle does not lose its line, it remains stable. And if you talk about going around corners, well, if you're going around at decent or medium speeds, again, no problems at all. So being aimed at a family usage, a typical adventure looker or a family oriented buyer, the Ertiga fits the bill perfectly and checks all the right boxes in pretty much all the departments. So in the end, the new Maruti Suzuki Ertiga comes out as a winner and has got a lot of good things going for it. It's got a good looking design, spacious cabin, good features, it's got a smart infotainment system, and it drives and rides well too. Now if you talk about the prices, well, the Ertiga is priced between 7.44 to 10.9 lakhs, and it is nicely feature packed across the variant range. So regardless of what variant you're buying, your value for money quotient is going to be strong on every variant. And right now the vehicle has no direct competition. Some people are comparing it to the Mahindra Marazzo, but keep in mind the Marazzo is not a direct rival to the Ertiga. It is a vehicle from a different segment, a slightly more premium vehicle. And till the time the Ertiga does not have a direct rival, it is going to enjoy the sunlight and a lot of sales.